This week in BJJ chat, Conversations Street, that's the top Grand Tour or something. How to train when you get old. So Ben is very old. So
not that old really.
How old are you, Ben?
I'm going to be soon be 42.
So 42, which is older than that. In sport jiu-jitsu, relatively old. And you still manage to train every day. What's the trick?
So, I think two things. Right, obviously the gas tank. Right, if you're rolling with someone that's much younger than you, you need to make sure that you control the pace of the round. Not necessarily if you're winning the position, but the pace. Because if you've got control of your pace within the round, then you can still bet yourself. Whereas if you try and keep up with a younger dude, then invariably you're going to get puffed out. And I think that's where you're going to get submitted. So that'd be my first thing. The second thing I think is knowing what your body can and can't do. So I know you're giggling at me, but it's really true.
You can't buy the dirty magazines in the shop.
No, yeah, obviously. It's okay, we've got internet now.
This is true.
Or you just ask some tall friend to go and get it for you, and they get really embarrassed when they go into their shop, which you've done many times for me, Chris.
Yeah, and you can't go on all the roller coasters.
That'd be pretty embarrassing, actually. No, that's not happened to me, actually.
I was at Alton Towers and someone was too fat and they had to get off.
Oh, I've seen that before. Yeah. Yeah.
I was with you.
Oh, you're so nice to me. So yeah, I think when you're an older guy in a sport, which essentially is for young people, I just think you've got to be mindful of what your body can and can't do. And obviously when you first start out, that's going to take you a little while to get to understand. And I think a lot of older guys think that they've got a point to prove sometimes. I think they especially when you first start out and you think, oh yeah, you know, I'm older, but I should be able to beat the younger guys. I think reality that you shouldn't really look at that. You should look at it, I need to manage how my body can move.
Yeah, I think you should swap your focus. I think young guys, the focus is a lot on rolling, sparring, because it's ego and competition, all the young testosterone stuff. But also, it is the most fun part of jiu-jitsu. Let's not joke about it. But as you get older, I think maybe swapping the focus to drilling, technical development, maybe a little bit more strength and conditioning. Because all those things you're very in control. Like the injuries per hour drilling are going to be astronomically less than rolling.
Yeah, I mean injuries are definitely a thing that you're always aware of. You do take longer to heal.
Much longer.
There's no doubt.
I used to train twice a day every day when I was early 20s.
And you
fine. Not anymore.
But I think that I train every day, as you know, and I actively look, and it's going to sound really daft, but it's like warm-ups and stuff, you know, thinking sort of that they are important for what you're doing, but are you going to giggle now? Because I tend to...
Ben misses a lot of warm-ups.
I miss up a lot of warm-ups. my theory is that the drilling time is my warm-up time.
Yeah.
And I think
we've talked about this. We had a whole conversation about how jiu-jitsu warm-ups are a waste of time. Yeah, slowly drilling technique is a great warm-up for jiu-jitsu. Yeah. It's very sports-specific.
Totally. So
you don't need to run around the edge of the room.
But I think it's about being aware of what time you can allocate and knowing what your body is capable of. So if you like you say about training twice a day, you know, if you know you're doing that, and sometimes I do because I run classes as well, I make sure that I know my limitations. So I do 2 rounds in an evening and say, right, that's enough for me now, because I know if I get up the next day, I'm going to feel quite achy because I've done a lunchtime session and an evening session. So I think just knowing your limitations is definitely key to any of it.
And saying no to people.
I always said that
clumsy 20-year-old. Just say no. Yeah. I know it hurts your ego,
but conversely, as an older guy, there's one thing that I think a lot of younger guys don't appreciate is that, you know, they say about old man strength, but there is a thing about it. You know, your grip strength and your ability to hold something is different.
Yeah.
As an older, I don't know why. I don't know what the hell that is about, but it definitely makes it harder for people to progress. So I think that with younger guys, you slow them down. If you're someone your own age, then you should be equal and you should be able to actually have an enjoyable round if that's what you're doing.
And a little more focus on when you're young, you can get away with a bad diet and a bad night's sleep and drinking beers and
Yeah, I must admit,
all that supplementary stuff. It becomes more and more important.
Well, you come around here and like my wife, she's very good with me and she looks after me. But we are conscious of our sleep. Sleep is really important, and I think like it's a bit of a joke when you see older people. But yeah, sleeping is important. Diet is incredibly important. Eating crap makes you feel crap, especially when you're training.
Yeah, I remember at 20, I'd get drunk, I would be fine the next day.
Yeah,
not anymore. You need a month off.
Yeah, but you're a bit younger than me, but you're hitting an age where you've got to be a little bit more mindful about what's going on. But I think drilling, choosing your partners, and enjoying it. Don't be flustered by the fact that if you've got a young guy that's in his late teens, early 20s, is just marauding you. Just look at it and think,
it's gonna happen.
And it does happen. I mean, there are always going to be people that will be better than you, and so you've got to be technically better. So your set is on technique, not that whole, I'm going to go for 10 minutes and blast through someone.
Yeah, it's different goals, right? Like, I used to find I'd be so pissed off at the end of a class if I didn't tap him, and I had all these he did this and he did that and blah blah. And like now, if I walk out the class and I'm not injured, it's
a win.
It's a good day.
Do you know? Conversely, though, I think that now I'm as more, if not more, capable than I've ever been. Not just because of the time that I've done, but I don't necessarily, because I've got, I think, a good tab on what my body can and can't do. I feel that actually I can train every day, and I can do it, and it's I've got a good routine. And in fact, if I don't do that, I feel worse.
I think there's something to be said for being quite big and heavy as well, and I think if you're a light 40, 50-year-old white belt, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
But if you're a 40-year-old heavy black belt, you can control most of the rounds. The amount of rounds where someone's spinning on you and being a bit uncontrolled. Like Roger Gracie's never had a surgery, which is utter madness. 10 times world champion, and I don't think he very often loses. He's not very often out of control where someone's going to twist something or.
No, and that's something else when you're rolling. Be aware of your own injuries, old injuries. Factor that into how you do things. There's certain parts of my body that I know are not right in terms of they're not the same. Yeah, but yours is a little bit. No, I just mirror yours.
It's better to have a little black belt dick.
But yeah, so I think that would be my advice for someone that's in their 40s. Just look at it as that you can be just as efficient as the younger guys, but you just have a different method to get there.
Yeah, and enjoy it. Just keep training and don't stop. That's where you really get fucked. Everyone that stops completely breaks down or has breaks. You just gotta keep grinding away.
It's the injury time. When you have an injury, you're out for longer, which does make a big difference, for sure.
Steroids.
Well, we'll talk about TRT another day.
When we're on it and we're like, yeah!